The distant planet of Jarkel was a savage place. Its jagged crimson rocks bathed in the eerie green light of a distant sun. The air crackled with tension, and the sharp, metallic stench of blood and burning fuel. Amid the thunder of plasma, rifles and the scream of alien war cries, a skirmish erupted between two hostile Jarkel factions. But standing in the middle of the chaos was something far more unexpected: a human medical unit, moving swiftly and decisively in the eye of the storm. Corporal Jake Lawson's breath came hard and fast. His armor was cracked, blood seeping from a deep wound across his side, the result of a surprise ambush moments earlier. He collapsed behind a jagged outcrop of rock, pain ripping through him with every breath. His vision blurred, the world tilting sideways. Then, almost without warning, Specialist Maya Tran was there. The human medic pushed aside the crude medical kit strapped to her chest and dropped to her knees beside him. Her gloved hands moved quickly, scanning the wound, tearing strips of fabric from her uniform, and working to staunch the bleeding with improvised pressure bandages. All around, alien. Warriors paused, their bright, multifaceted eyes narrowing as they watched the strange newcomers. Hidden among them were the emissaries of the Ilthari Dominion's Medical Corps, a species renowned throughout the quadrant for their cutting-edge surgical technology and centuries of flawless battlefield medicine. They had been sent to observe, to understand how humans survived in the brutal environments they called home. One of the alien doctors, a slender, pale figure with translucent skin and multiple jointed limbs, hovered closer, curiosity etched on its shimmering face. Its voice was a soft, melodic hum as it communicated with others in the observation pod. Observe the human medic. Note their primitive methods. Maya's hands didn't hesitate. Using a small multi-tool scalpel, she carefully cleaned the wound. She didn't have the benefit of nanobots or holographic scanners. She didn't rely on automated medical drones or the advanced biogels the Ilthari swore by. Instead, she relied on what she had learned through years of relentless training and the hard lessons of real war zones. "Keep pressure here," Maya said quietly to Jake, her voice steady despite the chaos. "I'm going to set the splint, now." Around her, the firefight raged on. Laser blasts cut through the dusty air and the cries of wounded soldiers echoed from both sides. But Maya focused solely on Jake's injury, inserting a crude but effective splint fashioned from broken branches and strips of fabric. She wrapped it tightly, immobilizing his shattered ribs and broken bones. From the observation pod, the alien doctors watched in stunned silence. One of them staggered back, its limbs trembling uncontrollably as it watched the human medic work. The alien's sophisticated medical sensors were registering the procedure as crude, outdated, and reckless. Yet the patient's vital signs stabilized. The bleeding slowed. The soldier's grimace softened from agonized pain to guarded relief. Another alien doctor gasped, then collapsed onto the floor of the pod, overwhelmed by disbelief. The whispers among the medical corps grew louder. How could this primitive species achieve such results without their advanced technology? How had these humans mastered battlefield medicine in environments far harsher than any alien had ever faced? Back on the ground, Maya secured Jake's jacket tightly around the splint and pulled out a small handheld scanner to check his vitals. The readout was stable. Heart rate slowing, breathing steady, bleeding contained. "We need to move him now," she said, looking toward the extraction point where a transport was waiting, its engines thrumming faintly in the distance. Jake nodded weakly, his voice hoarse. "Thanks, Doc, you saved my life." Maya smiled, the exhaustion in her eyes hidden beneath the calm determination. "That's what we do." As they moved through the rocky terrain, the alien doctors in the observation pod recovered from their shock and began whispering fervently among themselves. This was not merely medicine. This was something more. An instinct, a grit, a sheer force of will that no scanner or nanotech could replicate. Back at the command center, the human squad's commander contacted the alien officials. "Our medics are trained for anything," she said firmly. "No tech, no problem. We're humans. We improvise, we adapt, we save lives." The lead alien medic's voice crackled through the comm system, laced with skepticism and awe. "Your methods are..." Unorthodox. Show us more. Prove that your techniques are not mere luck. Maya's eyes narrowed as she listened. A challenge had been issued. And deep down, she knew this was just the beginning. The battlefield might have been brutal, but humanity's field medicine had just made its first legendary mark, a mark that would shake the galaxy's medical establishment to its core. The observation chamber aboard the Ilthari medical frigate was dimly lit, its walls pulsating faintly with bioluminescent panels that shifted color according to the stress levels of its occupants. The alien doctors gathered in tense clusters, their many limbs moving nervously as they replayed the recorded footage of the battlefield rescue over and over. "How can this be?" hissed Dr. Vikral, the Ilthari's chief medical tactician. His translucent skin darkened in frustration, the tiny veins beneath glowing a furious red. No known species could stabilize such trauma without biogels or surgical nanobots. It defies every principle of battlefield medicine. Beside him, Dr. Lathira shook her elongated head. Their equipment was rudimentary: fabric strips, wooden splints, a simple multi-tool. And yet, the soldiers' vitals stabilized rapidly. "We must demand an explanation." Meanwhile, in the human camp some kilometers away, Specialist Maya Tran sat in the command tent, wiping the grime and sweat from her face. Her medical kit lay open beside her, rows of antiseptics, sutures, saline packs, but it was her hands, honed by years of training and hardened by countless war zone emergencies, that had saved Corporal Lawson's life. The camp's communications officer interrupted her quiet moment with a sharp tap on the shoulder. "Command wants you on the line, Specialist. The aliens want to speak." Maya nodded, gathering herself, and activated the comm link. The holographic projection flickered to life, revealing the alien medical delegation in full regalia, their multiple limbs folded carefully, their eyes glowing with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. "This is Dr. Vikral of the Ilthari Dominion Medical Corps," the alien began in clipped, precise English. "We require detailed information about your field medicine techniques. Your ability to stabilize severe injuries without advanced technology is unprecedented." Maya swallowed the sudden lump in her throat but kept her voice steady. "Dr. Vikral, what you saw was not magic or alien biotech. It's simple human ingenuity, training that teaches us to adapt with what we have. When the tech fails or is unavailable, our medics improvise." Vikral's multifaceted eyes narrowed. "Improvisation cannot explain such high success rates. We suspect your species is concealing superior medical technology or unique biological traits that accelerate healing." The accusation hung in the air like a gauntlet thrown down. Maya took a deep breath. "We have no secret tech. We don't heal faster biologically than any other species. Our edge is in experience, grit, and the will to survive. Our medics train under brutal conditions, war zones, disaster sites, where there's no time for perfect tools or protocols. We use first principles and adapt." Vikral's eyes flickered with disbelief. "You ask us to believe that with nothing more than fabric and tools no more advanced than what a scavenger might find, you can outperform centuries of our medical science?" "Yes," Maya replied evenly. "And if you doubt it, we'll prove it." A tense silence followed. Then unexpectedly, the alien delegation's leader, a stoic figure named Kathran, spoke with a voice laced in grudging respect. "Very well. We propose a demonstration under controlled conditions. Your medics will perform field procedures within the Dominion's war zone, without your usual support systems. Should you succeed, we will consider your methods valid." Maya glanced toward the command tent where her squad leader nodded firmly. "We accept." Within hours, the human medics found themselves transported deep into the volatile heart of the Jarkel conflict. Unlike their previous encounter, this mission was no spontaneous rescue. It was a test under the watchful eyes of the Ilthari. The alien war zone was a stark, brutal environment. Thick purple fog clung to the ground and jagged spires of rock loomed over smoldering trenches. Human medics moved alongside Ilthari soldiers, their kits stripped of many high-tech devices, forced to rely almost entirely on their skills. The first challenge came swiftly. During a reconnaissance patrol, Lieutenant Rizan, a Ylthari commander known for his tactical genius, suffered a devastating blast wound to the lower abdomen. Alien medics hovered, their advanced nanosurgical tools, powered down by the strict terms of the test. Maya rushed forward, her hands steady despite the roaring chaos. She set to work with only her compact multi-tool, pressure bandages and antiseptic sprays, methods that the aliens had mocked moments before. As she worked, she whispered, "Stay with me, Lieutenant. I'm going to keep you alive." Time stretched, thin, each second weighted by the possibility of failure. The Ylthari medics watched in silence, their disbelief growing with every stabilized heartbeat and slowing pulse. When the procedure was complete, Lieutenant Rizan's vitals were surprisingly steady. The alien commander's eyes, usually sharp and unyielding, softened, a flicker of respect breaking through his grimace. Maya met the gaze of the Ylthari medics, steady and unflinching. No tricks, just human medicine. Back at the observation pod, Dr. Vikral's composure finally cracked. It cannot be. They are truly masters of survival. As the alien medical corps digested this stunning reality, a new chapter was beginning, not just for the humans, but for the entire galaxy's understanding of medicine, courage, and the indomitable human spirit. The alien war zone was no place for hesitation. Thick, sulfurous fog rolled over jagged rock formations that cast long, twisted shadows in the eerie light of Jarkel's twin moons. The distant echoes of plasma blasts and anguished screams punctuated the tense silence. Human medics and alien soldiers moved cautiously, their senses sharpened for the next catastrophe. Specialist Maya Tran tightened the straps on her medical kit and glanced at Corporal Lawson, now stable but pale. "We keep moving," she said, quietly. "Extraction is still 20 minutes out." The human medics had agreed to the Ylthari's challenge. No advanced tech, no automated help. Just their hands, their training, and whatever they could improvise. It was a test meant to prove whether humanity's field medicine was more than luck. Ahead, the war zone roared to life. An ambush erupted. Alien warriors from a hostile faction flooded the rocky ridges, their weapons firing lethal bursts of energy. Chaos exploded instantly. "Down!" Maya shouted, ducking behind a scorched boulder. But even as she crouched, a sharp cry rang out. "Medic! Medic here!" Maya sprinted toward the voice, weaving through debris and falling rock. She skidded to a halt beside Lieutenant Kathran, a Ylthari officer she'd met only hours before, who lay crumpled, clutching his shattered arm. The blast had torn through his protective armor, leaving a ragged wound seeping dark blood. Alien medics hovered nearby, their multi-limbed forms tense, ready to deploy their tech. But the rules forbade it. Maya's eyes scanned the injury quickly. Compound fracture, heavy bleeding, high risk of shock. Without hesitation, she peeled off her gloves and grabbed her field kit. She tore strips from her uniform to tie a makeshift tourniquet. Her fingers, steady despite the adrenaline flooding her veins. "Hold still," she said, her voice firm yet calm. "I'm going to stop the bleeding first." Catherine's multifaceted eyes widened. "Your methods, they're primitive." Maya smiled grimly. "Primitive doesn't mean ineffective." She pressed tightly on the wound, twisting the tourniquet until the bleeding slowed, then fashioned a splint from a broken branch and bandaged the arm securely. She injected a pain suppressant from a simple vial and kept Kathran talking, distracting him from the agony. From the ridge, hostile fighters advanced, forcing the Allied soldiers to retreat. Maya radioed for immediate extraction, her voice steady despite the pounding in her chest. The minutes crawled by as the team formed a protective circle around the injured officer. The alien medics watched in stunned silence, their disbelief simmering beneath their composed facades. "Your hands work faster than our machines," muttered Dr. Lathira from the observation pod, her glowing skin dimming with wonder. As the extraction shuttle finally descended, Maya lifted Kathran carefully. "We're getting you out," she assured him. "You're going to live." The shuttle's ramp closed, sealing them inside the hum of advanced technology. But Maya's focus never wavered. She monitored Cathran's vitals with the limited tools allowed. Nothing close to the Ylthari's nanoscanners, just basic instruments and her own experience. Hours later, Cathran opened his eyes in the infirmary. The pain had lessened and his arm was stabilized. He looked at Maya with a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. "You saved me with nothing but your hands," he said softly. Maya shrugged. "We learned to do a lot with a little." Over the following days, the human medics continued their work in the heart of the alien conflict, their reputation growing. They treated grievous wounds, stopped infections with simple antiseptics, and stabilized patients in conditions where the most advanced tech would have failed. The alien medics grew restless. Some began to shadow the humans, studying their improvisation, their relentless confidence, and the raw empathy that fueled every action. One night, under the glow of the twin moons, Dr. Vikral confronted Maya privately. "You claim no superior technology," Vikral said, voice low but intense. "Then how do you explain the success? We observe no advanced healing factors in your physiology." Maya looked him in the eye. "It's not just what we have, it's how we think. We're trained to stay calm, improvise, and never give up. Every medic here has faced worse odds than this. We see the patient, not just the wound." Vikral nodded slowly as if digesting a profound revelation. "Your resilience, your adaptability, these are as vital as any tool." The next day, the Alien War Council summoned Maya and her team. "Your medicine has turned the tide in this conflict," the alien general said gravely. "We underestimated humans. Your grit and skill have saved more lives than our finest technology." Maya's squad leader stepped forward. "Our medics aren't magicians. They're just people who refuse to accept death when they can prevent it." As the sun rose over Jarkel's crimson landscape, a new understanding dawned between species. Human field medicine wasn't just a collection of techniques, it was a philosophy born of survival, courage, and relentless will. It was a spark of hope in a galaxy ruled by cold machines and rigid doctrines, and that spark was beginning to burn bright. The sterile corridors of the Ylthari Dominion's medical research station hummed with quiet urgency. Within its translucent walls, alien scientists busied themselves, eyes flickering across data streams and holographic scans of human physiology. For all their advanced technology, the enigma of human field medicine gnawed at their collective pride. Dr. Vikral paced the length of the lab, his translucent skin shimmering with stress. "We have scanned every organ, every cell, every gene. There is no hidden mutation, no accelerated healing, no psychic link or biotechnological enhancement. Their biology is ordinary." Dr. Lithira, her many limbs deftly manipulating, diagnostic tools responded, "Yet their medics perform miracles without our advanced tools. There must be something else, a psychological or cultural factor we do not understand." Meanwhile, back at the human encampment, Maya Tran sat with her squad under the pale light of a makeshift tent. Corporal Lawson was recovering steadily, and morale was high, but Maya's mind churned with the weight of recent events. Their success had sparked both admiration and suspicion among the aliens. Rumors were circulating that humans might be hiding secret medical technology, rumors that reached the ears of an alien spy embedded deep within the camp. One evening, as Maya reviewed her supplies, a shadow moved silently at the tent's edge. The alien spy, cloaked in nondescript robes, stepped forward with a hesitant bow. "I come with a message from the Dominion Medical Council," the alien said, voice low. "They do not believe your claims of simple improvisation. They demand a full demonstration, no tricks, no omissions." Maya's eyes narrowed. "We've proven ourselves on the battlefield. What more do they want?" "Their distrust runs deep," the spy admitted. "Some suspect you're hiding something. If you refuse, it could provoke hostility. If you comply, you risk exposure." Maya considered the risk. "Then we give them the demonstration they want." The next day, an imposing alien amphitheater was set up near the camp's center. It was a cold, clinical stage designed for observation and analysis, far removed from the chaos of the battlefield. Alien medics, scientists, and commanders gathered, their eyes sharp with skepticism, Maya stood alone at the center, her field kit the only equipment at her side. Before her, a volunteer lay ready, a human soldier feigning a complex injury. Deep lacerations, broken ribs, and heavy bleeding simulated with meticulous care. The alien medics watched as Maya methodically assessed the wounds, using only basic tools and sterile materials. She cleaned, bandaged, and splinted with precision, narrating her every move to the silent crowd. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. When the simulated patient's vitals stabilized, a murmur rippled through the audience. Yet suspicion remained. Dr. Vikral approached, his limbs trembling with restrained emotion. "Your demonstration was thorough," he said cautiously, "but we must test you further. What if the battlefield conditions contributed to your success? What if your medic's experience is unique? We require a medical exchange." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Explain. Your medics will train with our best surgeons and scientists. We will exchange knowledge openly without secrets or deception. Only then can we truly understand your methods." Reluctantly, Maya agreed. The human medics were brought into the Dominion's state-of-the-art medical academy, surrounded by alien equipment that gleamed coldly under fluorescent lights. The contrast was stark. Humans with their rugged adaptive methods versus alien doctors with their sterile, high-tech protocols. The exchange was far from smooth. Alien medics struggled to grasp the value of improvisation and adaptability, dismissing it as reckless. Humans bristled at the aliens' rigid procedures and reliance on technology. Tensions flared when an alien doctor, frustrated by the human approach, sabotaged a treatment session, cutting power to essential devices and mocking the human's reliance on primitive tools. Yet in a twist of irony, it was Maya's team that saved the situation, using their quick thinking and limited supplies to stabilize a critically injured patient while the aliens scrambled helplessly. This moment became a turning point. Alien medics began to see that adaptability and experience were not signs of weakness but of profound strength. Late one night, Maya and Dr. Lathira met in a quiet corridor. "You have taught us humility," Lathira said softly. "Your medicine is not merely about technology but about spirit and resilience. This is a lesson we needed." Maya smiled tiredly. "We all have something to learn." But even as bridges were built, shadows loomed. Political factions within the Dominion resisted change, fearing that embracing human methods might undermine their centuries-old medical traditions. The question hung heavy. Could two such different approaches to healing truly merge, or would pride and fear tear them apart? As the sun set over the alien horizon, the seeds of revolution in medicine were planted, but the harvest was far from certain. The fragile truce within the Dominion's medical academy was cracking. In the gleaming halls where humans and Ilthari medics studied side by side, whispers of dissent grew louder by the day. Traditionalists saw the human methods as a threat to their revered technology and centuries of knowledge. They branded the humans' improvisations reckless and dangerous, a wild card that could unravel the precision of their science. Dr. Vikral, once an ardent skeptic, now found himself caught between admiration and allegiance. His respect for Maya and her team's skill clashed with his loyalty to the Dominion's old guard. "Their methods work," he admitted to himself, "but at what cost to our discipline?" In the shadowed corridors of the Dominion's leadership chambers, a secret faction gathered. High-ranking officials feared that the humans' influence would weaken their authority. They plotted to discredit the human medics and reclaim control. Meanwhile, Maya sensed the shifting tides. She could feel the eyes of suspicion, even hostility, on her back whenever she walked the academy. Her team was exhausted, stretched thin by endless demonstrations, training sessions, and the constant pressure to prove their worth. One evening, as she prepared for another late-night briefing, a coded message blinked on her comm device. It was from an anonymous source within the Dominion, warning of a planned sabotage during the next field exercise, a test meant to showcase human and alien medical cooperation. Maya's heart pounded. She called her squad leader, Sergeant Reyes, and shared the message. "We can't let this happen," Reyes said grimly. "If they succeed, it'll ruin everything we've worked for." The next day's field exercise was set in a simulated, battlefield environment designed to test combined human-alien medical teams under stress. The atmosphere was electric, every participant aware of the stakes. Maya's team partnered with Ilthari medics, their goal to stabilize a series of injured volunteers under time constraints and hostile conditions. Cameras recorded every moment, feeding live footage to the Dominion's Council. As the exercise began, Maya noticed subtle signs: missing medical supplies, tampered equipment, unexplained delays. Her instincts screamed that sabotage was underway. Midway through the exercise, disaster struck. The power grid controlling critical life support systems went dark, plunging the facility into eerie semi-darkness. Panic rippled through the teams. As advanced alien medical devices powered down, Maya's voice cut through the chaos. "Stay calm. Use manual protocols. We've trained for this." Her human team sprang into action, improvising with bandages, makeshift splints, and basic manual tools. The alien medics trained to rely on tech faltered, but Maya's confidence inspired them to adapt. Among the chaos, Sergeant Reyes discovered the saboteur, an alien technician planted by the traditionalist faction. Before Reyes could react, the technician lunged with a hidden blade. A brief struggle ensued, ending with Reyes disarming the attacker but suffering a shallow wound. Maya rushed to tend Reyes, her hands steady despite the unfolding crisis. "You're going to be fine. Just breathe." The incident shook the facility. The Dominion Council convened an emergency meeting, debating the implications of the sabotage. Publicly, they condemned the act and praised the humans for their quick thinking and resilience. Privately, however, the divide between factions deepened. Dr. Vikral confronted Maya after the meeting, his expression grave. "This sabotage is a symptom of a larger problem. Many fear change and cling to old ways. If we cannot bridge this divide, the future of medical cooperation is in jeopardy." Maya nodded. "Then we have to show them why it matters, not just with words, but with results." In the days that followed, Maya proposed a bold plan: a joint human-Ilthari medical mission to the front lines of the ongoing conflict on Jarkel, a real test under real fire, where the stakes could not be ignored. The council hesitated, but eventually agreed. It was a risk, but one that could unite their divided factions or shatter them completely. As Maya prepared her team, the weight of what lay ahead settled heavily on her shoulders. The battlefield was unforgiving, and failure would not only cost lives but possibly doom the fragile alliance between humans and the Ilthari. The night before deployment, Maya stood outside the tent, staring up at Jarkel's twin moons. The galaxy's eyes were upon them, watching to see if humanity's grit and adaptability could truly bridge the gap between alien technology and human will. Whatever happened next, there was no turning back. The first light of Jarkel's twin moons barely pierced the thick, swirling mist that blanketed the battlefield. The combined human-Ilthari medical team moved cautiously through the jagged terrain, alert to every shadow, every distant rumble of conflict. Specialist Maya Tran led her squad alongside Ilthari medics who now, after weeks of exchange, showed signs of cautious respect. The wounds and suffering surrounding them were stark reminders of the stakes. Suddenly, the sharp crack of an energy blast shattered the eerie silence. Explosions erupted nearby, sending showers of rock and dust into the air. Screams echoed from the front lines. "Medic!" a Ilthari soldier cried, clutching his shattered leg. The team sprinted to his side, where a jagged wound bled profusely. Maya dropped her pack and pulled out bandages and antiseptic. The alien medics prepared their limited tools, the advanced tech barred by the mission's rules. "We're running on human protocols," Maya reminded calmly. "Adapt and improvise." Her hands moved swiftly, tearing fabric to fashion a tourniquet. "Pressure here," she instructed, demonstrating the technique. The Ilthari medics watched intently, mimicking her movements. Nearby, Corporal Lawson stabilized a human soldier with shrapnel embedded near his heart. Using only a compact scalpel and sutures, he carefully extracted the fragments and sealed the wounds. "Keep breathing," he urged. "We're not losing anyone today." The battle raged around them, but the medics focused on their task, AD, delicate balance between urgency and precision. As Maya worked, she noticed an alien soldier collapse a short distance away, his breathing shallow, eyes glazed. She sprinted over, assessing the injury. Internal trauma, likely from a fall. "Cover his airway," she ordered, improvising a makeshift stretcher with sturdy branches and strips of cloth. The Ilthari medics hesitated, accustomed to their floating medical pods and nanosutures, but under Maya's steady command they rallied. Hours passed in a blur of wounds and whispered prayers. The human medic's grit combined with the alien medic's analytical precision created an unlikely synergy. Slowly, the tide of suffering lessened, but the battlefield was far from safe. Suddenly, a mortar shell exploded nearby, throwing Maya to the ground. Dazed but uninjured, she scrambled up, only to see Sergeant Reyes pinned under debris, his leg twisted at an unnatural angle. Maya rushed over, heart pounding. "Reyes, hold on, I'm coming." With the help of nearby soldiers, she lifted the rubble just enough to free him. His face was pale, sweat dripping. "I'm fine," he groaned. "Just get me out of here." "Not until I stabilize you," Maya said firmly. She ripped a piece of fabric and fashioned a splint, wrapping it tightly around his leg. "We need to move, now." The team formed a protective perimeter as they carried Reyes to safety, exchanging fire with enemy combatants. The alien medics, once skeptical of human toughness, now fought fiercely alongside their new comrades. Later, at the temporary field hospital, Maya and her team worked through the night, tending to the wounded with relentless determination. As dawn approached, exhaustion etched into every face, a tentative peace settled. Dr. Vikral arrived with a delegation, watching silently as the humans demonstrated their techniques once again. "Your methods are extraordinary," Vikral admitted, voice low with awe. "You bring not only skill but heart. This is a lesson our entire species must learn." Maya met his gaze, weary but resolute. "Medicine is more than tools or technology. It's about willpower, compassion, and adapting to the worst situations." The alien leader nodded slowly. "Perhaps our sciences are incomplete without these qualities." As the sun rose over the scarred battlefield, a new chapter began, one where human grit and alien technology could merge, forging a future built not on fear or tradition, but on shared survival. But Maya knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. Old prejudices die hard, and the forces that opposed change still lurked in shadows. For now, though, they had won a crucial battle, not just for lives saved, but for the hope of unity in a galaxy torn by war. The fragile victory on Jarkel's battlefield rippled far beyond the crimson dust and jagged rocks. Within the high towers of the Dominion's capital, whispers of unrest grew louder, echoing through ornate halls and austere council chambers. Traditionalists were furious. They saw the recent cooperation as a threat to the Dominion's identity, a dangerous surrender to human unpredictability and emotion. Led by Councillor Thraxel, a stern, unyielding figure, they plotted to reclaim control. "This alliance with humans weakens us," Thraxel argued before the council. His eyes flashed with conviction. "Their crude methods endanger lives. We must restore order and reassert our supremacy." But not all agreed. Dr. Vikral, once hesitant, now stood as a vocal advocate for integration. The battlefield proved that human adaptability saves lives where technology fails. We cannot afford to dismiss their contribution. The debate fractured the council. Some saw opportunity, a chance to evolve the Dominion's rigid systems. Others clung to ancient doctrine, fearful of losing power. Back at the human camp, Maya sensed the shifting tides. The council's discord mirrored the simmering tensions she'd felt among the alien medics, some eager to learn, others resistant. One evening, as she reviewed field reports, an encrypted message arrived. The sender, the alien spy who had first warned her of sabotage. The note was brief but urgent. "Councillor Thraxel prepares a purge. Your team is targeted. Trust no one." Maya's pulse quickened. She gathered her closest allies, Sergeant Reyes, Corporal Lawson, and Dr. Vikral. "We're walking a razor's edge," she said. We've earned respect on the battlefield, but politics is another war altogether. Vikral's translucent skin shimmered in the tense dim light. I will stand with you. There are those among us who see the future in cooperation, not conflict. Reyes clenched his jaw. We need a plan. If the purge comes, we fight back. The following days were tense. Maya's team tightened security, shared intelligence, and strengthened bonds with sympathetic alien medics. Quiet alliances formed in shadowed corners. Then, the purge began. Under cover of night, Dominion enforcers stormed the human quarters. Alarms blared, gunfire cracked through the darkness. Maya's team fought fiercely, using their knowledge of both human and alien tactics to hold the line. In the chaos, Dr. Vikral was captured. Before the enforcers dragged him away, he locked eyes with Maya. This is not the end. Trust the future. The human medics retreated to a hidden bunker. Wounded but unbroken, they tended to their own with the same care they gave the battlefield's victims. Maya's resolve hardened. We fight not just for survival but for a new path, one where differences don't divide us. Word of the conflict spread quickly, stirring unrest among moderate factions within the Dominion and human sympathizers. Protests erupted in cities, calls for peace and reform echoing alongside cries of loyalty and tradition. Amidst the turmoil, Maya and her allies planned a bold move. A public demonstration of joint medical success, live broadcast across the Dominion and human worlds, to sway opinion and expose the dangers of fear-driven politics. The stage was set in the Grand Plaza of the Dominion capital, a place of history and symbolism. Humans and Ilthari would work side by side, showcasing their combined strength. On the EI day of the demonstration, tension hung heavy in the air. Crowds gathered, soldiers stood watch, and cameras streamed live to billions. Maya treated a simulated patient with Vikral's former students assisting, alien medics who had embraced change. Together, they stabilized complex injuries using a blend of human improvisation and alien precision. As the demonstration ended, the plaza erupted in applause. Hope flickered across faces long hardened by conflict. Counselor Thraxil, watching from a private chamber, clenched his fists. The tide was turning. Maya knew the struggle was far from over, but for the first time a true alliance seemed possible. A future where humanity's grit and alien technology could unite to heal not just bodies, but the wounds of a fractured galaxy. The Grand Plaza of the Dominion capital still hummed with the echoes of applause and hope. Maya Tran stood among her team and their Ilthari allies, exhaustion and cautious optimism etched on every face. The live demonstration had been a success, a beacon piercing the shadows of fear and division that had long clouded the Dominion. But victory in the public eye was only the beginning. Behind the scenes, Counselor Thraxil was seething. His grip on power slipping, he launched a desperate gambit, a covert operation to seize Maya and her key allies, labeling them as terrorists seeking to destabilize the Dominion. Under cover of night, elite enforcers moved swiftly, but Maya's team had anticipated the move. With Vikral's earlier warnings and their own intelligence network, they prepared an ambush. The clash was fierce, laser fire illuminating the alien city's polished spires. But Maya's team fought not just with weapons, but with strategy and heart, saving innocents caught in the crossfire. During the chaos, Maya confronted Thraxil in a tense standoff atop the capital's highest tower. The counselor's cold eyes glinted with menace. "You endanger our legacy, human," he spat. "Your reckless ways will bring ruin." Maya's voice was steady. "Our legacy should be one of survival and growth, not fear and stagnation." Thraxil sneered but faltered when reinforcements, alien medics and soldiers who had embraced the new alliance, surrounded him. The tide had truly turned. With Thraxil's arrest and the purge dismantled, the Dominion's council convened to rebuild. Maya and Vikral were invited as honored representatives of a new era. Together, they proposed the creation of the unified medical doctrine, an integration of human adaptability and Ilthari technological mastery, fostering cooperation across species and disciplines. The proposal was met with cautious approval. But it marked a beginning, a promise of unity in a galaxy fractured by suspicion and war. Back on the front lines of Jarkel, the new doctrine transformed battlefield medicine. Joint teams worked seamlessly, saving lives once thought lost. Stories of courage and compassion spread like wildfire, inspiring other worlds to follow. Maya looked out across the field hospital, watching human and alien medics move together, their hands steady and sure. Dr. Vikrul approached, his once skeptical eyes now warm with respect. "You were right, Maya. Medicine is more than science. It is hope." Maya smiled. "It's more than that. It's proof that no matter how different we are, we can heal together." As the twin moons of Jarkel rose again, casting silver light over the scarred but hopeful land, the galaxy watched and listened to a new song of unity, human grit, and alien wisdom had not only saved lives, they had bridged worlds. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in generations, it was a future built on trust.